The executive system of government is too expensive if we must be honest to ourselves.
I'm in support of having a state police and even having local government police.
Those who want to invest had better come in now, because Nigeria is going to change and change for good.
We have given in to sentiments that are tribal or religious or political.
Whoever is honest in politics will begin to run into problems. In fact, you will not get elected.
I think you must be guided by certain principles.
Me, I like my country. I like the land and people. Everything is there for Nigeria. Make we join hands to make Nigeria better.
True Nigerians, heroes of our time. Let's go there. Hello Nigeria and hello Nigerians. It's that time again of True Nigerians, heroes of our time. A program where we bring to you Nigerians that are worth emulating, Nigerians that are role model, Nigerians that have done us well in their various fields in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Today, my guest on the program was a lecturer at the Bayero University, Kano for 28 years, where he also held academic positions of Dean of Faculty and Head of Department at different times, until his appointment as Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communication Commission. He served as the Acting Vice Chancellor of the Kano University of Science and Technology, WUDIL. He has also won several awards. We can't mention all those awards because there are so many. Today on our program, True Nigerians, Heroes of Our Time, I have the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communication Commission, Professor Umar Garba Danbatta. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Good morning, sir. My pleasure.
We've been on this for a long time. We're so happy. You can see I'm excited already because at last
we maintain your excitement.
Yes.
Excitement, please.
Okay, excitement. I've done that, sir. Okay, we have a traditional question. In your own opinion, how would you define a true Nigerian?
Well, I'm glad you said in my own opinion. I think a true Nigerian is one who is patriotic, who will submit to the supremacy of various constituted authorities. You know, the Constitution, the Act, for example, establishing the NCC, other instruments of the law. Everything we're doing it through the instrumentality of the law. Therefore, it is very, very important for a true Nigerian to submit to the various instruments, of the law, the orderly manner of doing things, so that you do not infringe on the rights, of other Nigerians, just like you try and ensure that your all rights, are not infringed. So it's an important balancing act that will ensure compatibility in the polity, if you want me to use the right word. Okay, so that to me, in my opinion, is yes, respect for rule of law. That defines for me a true Nigerian.
Okay, the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, has caused like a lot of heavy traffic right now with the internet users, unlike before. Now people even trade online because you can't go out, there was lockdown. So there's a lot of concentration now, traffic on the internet.
Yes.
What did you do differently? What did you do differently in regards to this new pandemic and this era of COVID-19 pandemic to address the traffic?
Okay, I think the question is very clear. You talk about traffic and I talk about congestion. Network congestion was, I think, what we experienced and planned very early. When the pandemic was in other countries, we knew very soon. It's just a matter of time before, it arrived, also into our country. And therefore, we had a head start to plan and ensure we put measures in place that will contain the various challenges, that the pandemic is posing, and we are at the moment contending with. One of which is to instruct the mobile network operators to use their 2G spectrum for the provision of data services, meaning 2G to 4G, because 4G is the technology of data, is what drives data services. We feel we need to bring in additional relief to the various installations that we have servicing data services. So that was the first step we took. We also provided more spectrum, because with more spectrum you can be able to cope with the congestion. Okay, so that is 2. 3, we ensure that where spectrum is encumbered, like in the southwest part of the country, the 2.6 gig spectrum assigned to MTN and subsequently the one assigned to Airtel, these portions of the 2.6 gig spectrum were encumbered by broadcast operators. So we quickly initiated action and made a very strong and convincing case with the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy to have this spectrum freed up for the rollout of additional telecommunication services. That has been done successfully. The Honorable Minister made a case with Mr. President and an approval was obtained to pay compensation to the broadcast operators to the tune of $2.7 million. That has already been done. The broadcast operators have moved, vacating the spectrum, and the encumbrance has effectively been removed. And this spectrum is presently being used to provide telecommunication services. It is a capacity spectrum. It's one spectrum that will drive the provision of data services in that part of the country. So we have seen similar measures, in various parts of the country, to the extent that we were able to contain the challenge posed, by the COVID-19 pandemic, occasioned, by, the congestion in networks, which I assure you, we noticed. And we also relied on the redundancy of, the mobile network operators. They had redundancies, and a time, of the COVID-19 pandemic is exactly the time when you, reach out to your redundancy in order to ensure services are being provided seamlessly so that people will not even experience any congestion in the network. Other challenges we encountered, despite putting in place these deliberate measures to ensure seamless provision of services, those are factors related to right-of-way, which, as you are aware, again, the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy intervened with the Nigerian Governors Forum, and there was a resolution stressing the importance of adhering to the rate for payment of right of way, which is 145 naira for a linear meter of fiber. As we are talking, many states are compliant. Some have even reduced the amount from the rate that I've just told you, and others have altogether waived the rate. So these are very, very important developments that are happening at a time of the COVID-19 pandemic, at a time where we're experiencing deluge of, data demands, on our networks.
So it means that even if we're not praying for it, it means that even if in future we have another lockdown for 8 months, we're in good hands.
We will bring the experience, we acquired, from this past phase of the pandemic to bear in any subsequent, we're not hoping, challenge that we may have, not necessarily with the COVID-19 pandemic, and so we're getting ready for whatever eventuality that the future, could present, with a view to expansion of the networks, with a view to maintain them, the integrity, improving the integrity of the network to the extent that consumers will have the confidence to subscribe services, especially in the data segment, because there are other services.
A Nigerian will agree to take a bomb and be ready to die. Something is wrong somewhere.
Oppression against the poor is the beginning of disaster for any nation, people, or community.
You need to have the pedigree, you need to have the rudiments, the psychology, the sociology, and even the philosophy of what education is.
God will judge you by how well you relate to others.
True Nigerians.
True Nigerians.
Nigerians. True Nigerians. True Nigerians. True Nigerians.
True Nigerians.
It's about Nigeria and Nigerians. Watch True Nigeria.
A true Nigerian loves Nigeria.
Okay, still talking about data.
Yes.
SMS is 4 naira.
Yes. Yes.
And they say data is life.
It is.
But there are still being complaints that the cost of data is relatively still very expensive.
Yes, I would like to identify with the aspirations of Nigerians to see that the cost of data goes down. It is not an impossibility, but there are measures we need to put in place to bring down the cost of data. The data, that we have in this country is residing at the landing point in Lagos. Tremendous data capacity, provided by Main One, Glow One, MTN, WAX, and SAT3. Combine the data capacity by this undersea cable, submarine cables, some people call them, is between 40 to 60 terabytes. That's a tremendous amount of data. Now, until and unless we can move this capacity from the coastal part of the country, which is Lagos, into the hinterland, then we're going to be experiencing slightly higher prices for data, which stands at about, something under 1,000 naira for gigabits of data. The directive by government, courtesy of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, is to reduce the cost of 1 gigabits of data to 390 naira. That is about 1/3 of the cost now. Even as we are talking, when you compare, you benchmark with the cost of data in other parts, of the country, in other parts of the African continent, when you benchmark within the African continent, especially within the West African sub-region, you will find we are fourth, in terms of, cost of data, meaning our data is the fourth cheapest. So there are other countries within Africa selling data at higher cost, where a gigabit of data will cost much, much higher than 1,000 kilometers. 1,000 naira that we're talking about. But the point here is, whatever we do, we are guided by what we call the affordability index. There is an affordability index of Nigerians, internet affordability index, which this country is very much within the level, this is a technical term, but meaning the cost of data is seen by the Alliance of Affordable Internet as affordable, going by that affordability index. But we can still bring, the index down, and by extension bring the cost of data down. So the directive by government to ensure we reduce the cost of data from 1,000 naira per gigabit of data to 390 is a statement that is captured in the National Broadband Plan. So it's something we must do, it's something that we are committed to do, and it's something, we are putting in place the various strategies that are required in order to ensure we hit that target of 390 by the year 2023, it says, but we hope we can do it even before that time. And the idea that, the data will not move by itself, I keep saying. So you need to provide commensurate infrastructure that will host the data everywhere in the country. And that is why we have this plan for infrastructure companies to come in. So far we have licensed 6. The 7th one for the North Central Zone is underway, so that they can be able to deploy the desired infrastructure in various parts of the country, especially in every geopolitical zone, covering the entire 774 local government areas with a point of access of 10 gigabits data capacity. So this is the plan we are pursuing in order to bring down the cost of data.
Okay, we can't wait for that movement.
Well, wish me luck.
Yes. Okay, cyber security.
Yes.
Cybercrime is still on the increase.
Yes.
What kind of is there anything you have done to checkmate?
Yes, as you are aware, the cyber security, is if you like, the cyber security system in this country is domiciled in the office of the National Security Advisor, but the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy equally plays an important role in guaranteeing the security of our cyberspace. Here we are talking about the 3 keywords are cyberspace, cybercrime, and cybersecurity. You cannot really distinguish, this. They are intertwined.
Yes.
The idea is, whereas a lot of transactions, online transactions are taking place, in the outer space, in what we call the electromagnetic environment, okay? There you have, radio communication signals, telecommunication signals, other, signals, that are of electrical origin. You have people trying to hack into the various systems that are either hosting these signals for a purpose. Of course, all signals are intended for a specific purpose, either to conduct, financial transactions, for educational purposes, for provision of health services to citizens, and so on and so forth. And then out there, within the cyberspace, you have people willing to hack into, the systems, willing to penetrate the signals in order to compromise the integrity of the system. And this is a challenge that has become a reality. And therefore, in the office of the National Security Advisor, you have the Computer Emergency Response Team. A team of computers, these are not human beings, that are configured in a manner to, checkmate cyber crimes. Now, with that, that is courtesy of the Cybercrime Act 2015. With that development, the act equally confers all sectors of the economy especially the Nigerian Communications Commission, that is responsible for regulating the telecommunications sector, to set up their own SATs. We call it sectoral SATs. So the NCC, as we are talking, has established a computer incidents response team that is intended to protect the telecommunication networks from being hacked, from being compromised. Okay. Yes. So that arrangement is there. I believe other sectors of the economy which are being regulated by other agencies of government have their own computer incidents response team. Okay. So while all these arrangements are in place at different stages of implementation, we are still experiencing cyber attacks. Cyber crimes are being committed. People are being, deprived of their, hard-earned, earnings. So there is financial crime being committed, and like I said, every sector of the economy has a responsibility to protect people patronizing services within that sector from hacking, from cyber crimes, in whatever guise they may come, and so on and so forth. So the bottom line is, if we can identify some universal research locators that are suspicious, locators that are clearly causing all kinds of unauthorized access into our networks, then we can take an action of the last resort by blocking those universal research locators. Okay, because if the security breach is such that it has, a national dimension, if it is in the interest of the country to ensure the security of the cyberspace within the country, to ensure the security of sensitive documents, kept in systems, in various agencies of government, in all MDAs, then it behoves on the government to block the source of attack altogether, which is an action of last resort, but within the constitutional purview of government, to do, in order to ensure the security, of the nation. The whole purpose of taking all this multitude of measures is to inspire confidence in citizens of the country to continue to subscribe services provided by banks, by mobile network operators, by other service providers, internet service providers, and so on and so forth. With the assurance that their data is both secure and safe.
Okay, this synergy between the NCC and the security, you mentioned implementation.
Yes.
What could be the delay in the...
Well, our responsibility is to implement policies of government with regards to the sector. The policies are passed on to us to implement. From time to time, government will bring new policies in order to secure the cyberspace, in order to improve provision of services to citizens. Various agencies of government are assigned the responsibility to implement those policies. So that's the difference.
A Nigerian will agree to take a bomb and be ready to die. Something is wrong somewhere.
Oppression against the poor is the beginning of disaster for any nation, people, or community.
You need to have the pedigree, you need to have the rudiments, the psychology, the sociology, and even the philosophy of what education is.
God will judge you by how well you relate to others.
True Nigerians.
True Nigerians.
Nigerians.
True Nigerians. True Nigerians. True Nigerians.
True Nigerians.
It's about Nigeria and Nigerians. Watch True Nigeria.
A true Nigerian loves Nigeria.